Hello everyone, Linda Israel here, and I am working on a Fairy Garden junk journal. And this is part of the series of videos where I'm showing you all the different things that I am making on the pages. Currently I am fussy cutting a pretty butterfly from the Digital Collage Journal Kit from Calico Collage Fairy Garden. I also have a couple of sheets of composition notebook paper and a couple other elements from the kit, and then some Tattered Angels Glimmer Mists. I've got 4 little images here, not very much, and I've got some distress ink. I'm going to go around the edge with vintage photo of all of these cut out images. If I don't do it first, I tend to forget. After I get it glued down is when I realize, oh, I was supposed to do that. None of you are like that, correct? Using the distressed ink, I've said this before, around the edges helps fill in those white lines. It blends the paper, makes it look more vintage, if you will. If you like that look, you can change different colors. I like to use brighter colors, but with this kit, the peaches and browns were working. I have half of a doily that was left over from another project, and I'm just going to add a little bit of color to it just for fun. Alright, so I've got these ready, and I've got these 2 pieces of paper. The problem is this isn't the correct size to use in my journal, so I need to trim them. When you pull pages out of a composition book, if you take out the stitches down the center, you can get a full sheet of paper, a nice size sheet of paper. And I like doing it this way because then I don't have the lines going up and down. If you took this piece of paper and folded it in half and made it into a page, it goes this way. It does cause a little bit of waste when you trim the pages, but it just makes me happy to be able to have the lines go the correct direction. So what I'll do is I'll take one of the journal pages from the kit and I will line it up on my paper cutter and just trim it off. I don't really measure the papers. I look at it and say, okay, about right there, and then I'm going to trim it. That's it. I know a lot of people are like, well, how do you measure this stuff? I don't. I just eyeball it and go. And don't worry about it. So this page is the full page, and to make it easy to determine how wide I want my piece of paper, I'm just going to fold this in half. And now I know how much to cut off, or if I wanted to score this to make it a flap. I think this time I just want to cut it off so I don't have to deal with it. And I save these pieces. I make notepads out of them. I've got my spray box that I use for my Tattered Angels Glimmer Mists. And what I'm going to do is open this page up. I've got 2 of them. So I'm going to do both of them the same way. And I've got a stencil that I made on my Cricut with transparency film. I'm laying that down in there. And then I have a few colors of Tattered Angels Glimmer Mists. I have Craft, Taffy, and Precious Metal. So I'm going to go in here and spray with a little bit of the Taffy, the Precious Metal, and then a little bit of the Craft. Make sure it's turning the right way. And I'm not going to do as much as the Craft because it's a darker color. And then I'm going to take the other page and lay it on top of the stencil to help pick up any of that glimmer mist that's on top of the stencil. And I'm just rubbing the page to help soak up that glimmer mist. And as you can see, it kind of transfers through the whole page. And sometimes what I'll do, instead of spraying this side with the stencil, I'll just go back in with a little bit more Tattered Angels on this side. And then that'll give it a shimmer, and it'll have the effect on both sides. So we've got this side, and then we've got this side. So I'm going to set this aside to dry for a moment. And let's take a look at this page. So here's the page here that was created. So it has that neat transition of color. And then on this side, I'm going to just flip it over and then use some of the precious metal to give a little shimmer on the back side. To speed up drying, you can use a hair dryer, or in my case, I'm using a heat tool to dry. I'm going to set one of these aside, and then I'll fold this back in half again. And then I've got these little pieces that I want to use on here, so I'm going to lay them all out. I've got a little montage of things here, or hodgepodge of things here that I figured out that I want to put on here. Before I glue this down on this side, I know that sometimes when you stamp, it will bleed through to the other side. So I'm going to open this up. I'm going to ink it with the Vintage Photo right in the center top of this page. And then while I'm at it, I'm going to stamp a little dragonfly on the other page. I'll flip this back. And now what I'm going to do is use some glue stick to adhere down this doily. So I'm just going to make a little U and fill it in. And then I'll place this right over the top. Glue stick dries really fast, so I'm not really worried about any excess glue that I got on the page. I just want to make sure that it's adhered down really well. And then I'm going to take the butterfly and adhere it down. Then I've got the word love that I cut on my silhouette, and I'm just going to rough it up just a little bit with my scissors so it's not perfect. And then I'm going to use my blending tool to go around with a little bit of the Vintage Photo. And then I'll put some glue stick on this. On the back side, since I've got this play with fairies, I'll just use the glue stick and stick it down. So there's one page that's been decorated and it's ready to go. So I'll do the next one. And I'm going to do the same thing with the stamp on one side, and then I'm going to adhere this little definition on the other side. And I'll just place this on the other side in the center. I'm using the glue stick again because we're dealing with thin papers, and if you get too much wet glue, it will cause it to bubble and warp your page, and we're trying to keep it somewhat smooth, so that'll go there. I've got a dragonfly stamp that I think would look cute over here in the corner, so I'm just inking it up with the distressed ink. And let's stamp a different dragonfly on the other side. I'm going to fold this over, and then I'm just going to put the word imagine on this side. So there are two quick pages of altering notebook paper to put into a junk journal. I hope you liked seeing how I did this. If you're interested in the items that I use, check out the description box for links to the products that I use in the blog post. Definitely give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I love the crinkle that makes after spraying it. Share this video with your friends. Of course, if you haven't subscribed, why not subscribe to my channel? If you have any comments or questions, use that comment box down below. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching. Have a fabulous day. Bye.